Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Voices for Change 2.0, the mental health podcast that's changing the discussion one voice at a time, featuring guests that will help end the stigma and keep talking mental health. And now, here are your hosts, Rebecca and Joe Lombardo.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Voices for Change 2.0.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for joining us. This middle of January Saturday, that's at least in the Detroit area, is really dreary out because it's all rainy and blech.
Supposed to have, we're having it in the middle of an ice warning.
Yeah.
Until tomorrow morning, so that's fun.
Yeah.
We love that.
That's fun for us. So it's funny, I still can't get used to the new theme song.
The entries, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm used to the Scooby-Doo drums at the beginning of the old one. So it's cool though. You know, it's a bit of refreshment, if you will. I don't know why I tried to sound British there. It's kind of weird. So anyway,
what were we going to chat about today, babe?
So what we were going to chat about, as we were talking before the show started, was I alluded to the fact that it's the middle of January, and the holidays are over, regardless of what holiday you celebrate. Christmas is over, Hanukkah's over, Kwanzaa's over, New Year's is over. We've started a new year. We've started a new decade. And we're kind of in that in-between blah area now. There really isn't much to look forward to until it starts getting warmer out and, people look forward to, cookouts and baseball. And
I know that I'm blah. I've been feeling it lately. Excuse me. I'm having a lot of trouble this holiday season. I was really hoping that with the addition of our great niece, Luna, that, she's only just over a year old, so we were hoping that it would, bring more...
Inject some life into the holiday season for us, yeah.
It bring more to the holidays for me, but it's very difficult for me. I had a big family, and, my mom and dad are gone now, and two of my brothers are gone now. And I don't really have a relationship with the other two, so it's hard. I'm doing better than I actually thought I would be, but I'm still not great, and I know that there's a lot of people in that same position, and I would love to hear from anybody who follows us on Twitter what they're doing to kind of take care of themselves and really sort of, find within themselves the strength to keep going when it's a difficult time of year.
Yeah, and it's, the holidays are always more difficult when you're dealing with loss, and like we said, having Luna here, that did inject a little bit of fun and brevity and hope into our holiday season this year. At least it did for me. I'm hoping it did for you too, babe.
It helps to a certain degree.
The tough thing is, like I said when we started, that now we're through that holiday season, and it's dark and dreary out, and some places are covered in snow, and some places are going to be covered in snow, and this is generally a tough time of year for people to get through, and this is, they talked about seasonal affective disorder, and the effect that having this kind of weather can have on a person, and you really do feel it this time of year, because now it is kind of getting my credit card statements in the mail, and I'm getting all these other bills, and now I'm playing catch up from what I spent through the holidays, and weather's crap, and I don't want to go anywhere or do anything. I just want to stay in bed for the rest of my life, and so
we're not mocking that theory.
No, we're wholly embracing that and consider ourselves part of that culture, So, yeah, if
it doesn't help that tomorrow's the anniversary of my mom's death.
Yeah, I know.
That's really, it's been years now, and I still am not, quote unquote, okay with it. I don't think I'll ever be. And we lost our beloved cat this year, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
Last year, I guess I should say, it's 2020 now, but it's a lot, and I hate to be a bummer. With the beginning of the show, we don't want to be a bummer, but we want to be realistic. It's one of the reasons why we do this show is to offer people some, realism with my condition, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And how you help me get through these difficult times.
Yep.
And I think that people respect us for being honest about whatever's going on with us. So
yeah, we're definitely not afraid to wear our hearts on our sleeves.
Yeah.
So,
but
that said,
yeah.
let us transition to our guests.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so grateful that they're taking the time out of their busy days to talk with us. We have a twofer today, baby.
Mm-hmm.
We got two guests, two guests in one.
Oh my God.
These are the jokes.
Terrible.
Yeah. You're gonna have to. You know what? No, you've been with me for over 18 years. You know what to expect now.
It's still really bad. There's no way to make it any better. It's just really bad.
Any better? What? Anyway.
So today we're chatting with a couple of lovely ladies from Canada. We're excited to have them on the show.
They're from Canada, eh?
Oh Lord.
How's she going, eh?
They are the creators of the Canadian Perinatal Mental Health Collaborative, otherwise known as the CPMHC.ca. We're really excited because it's the first time we're really going over this topic.
Yeah,
in depth.
We've talked about it a little bit in the past. Had guests on that talked about postpartum disorder and whatnot, but I think we're coming at the whole thing from a little bit different angle by having these two on, and I think it's a good thing having them on to talk about this, especially this time of year. With, like I was saying, with the holidays being out of the way, and there's new moms. This was our niece Katie's technically second Christmas with Luna, but the first Christmas that Luna kind of knew what was going on, or not really. And,
She sort of did.
She sort of did. She got that the big box was for her, and she didn't know why. But, and that can be kind of an overwhelming thing, once you get the holidays out of the way, too. So please welcome to the show. I can't read the names from over there because you're so much farther away from me. Miss Patricia Tomasi and Jaime Charlebois. I hope I didn't butcher those.
Not too bad.
Hi, guys.
Not too bad. Hi.
Not too.
Charlebois.
Charlebois. Okay.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Hi. We're happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. There's a city in Michigan called Charlebois, so that's where I was coming from with that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be the first to say it that way.
Okay. Charlebois.
And we're I just wanted to say we're also in that ice storm belt.
Yeah.
We feel We're just looking out the window here in Jamie's house, and it's rainy and dreary, and we're waiting for that freezing rain to fall. We're in Barrie, Ontario, which is about an hour north of Toronto.
Okay.
So
cool.
We feel
Yeah, you guys are about 4 or 5 hours away from us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not so bad. Yeah, our third wedding anniversary, we actually drove out to Toronto for the weekend.
Oh, yeah?
And that was nice, In fact, we'd love to go back sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to get our passports renewed.
Yeah.
Well, come anytime. I would suggest in the spring or summer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, our anniversary is August 3rd, so we came out in the summer, way back a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a minute. It's been so long ago we didn't need passports.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so it's been a minute. But anyway, guys, thanks for being on the show. We are very grateful, and we're very excited to talk with you about what y'all have going on. So we were wondering if we could, well, before we get started, do you have any questions for us?
Do we have any questions for you? No, not really. We just, in hearing you both talk about, this time of year, we understand. Actually, just before we came on to talk to you both, we were talking about how January, February, March are like the worst time of the year for my family anyways, Patricia, because I have a couple daughters with some mental health issues. I have mental health issues, my husband, and just we know this time of year is the hardest, not only because it's kind of dreary outside and we don't see the sun too often, but biologically as well with the lack of vitamin D. So I've got the vitamin D out and everyone's got their tongues out and I'm putting drops on everyone's tongues. We're just doing what we can because that awareness is crucial, right? So Rebecca, I know you're feeling really blah, but with your awareness and I'm sure, with all of your the support around you, you'll be able to get through it. And you can call us anytime up here in Canada. And we'll be a friendly voice for you. So not really a question, more than a comment, solidarity.
A statement.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, it's always good to have, people around you that support you. I think that I would be in a much worse state if I didn't have like you said, the support that I have. So I'm grateful to you both for that. And, let's move on here.
Let's keep talking MH.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're pretty smooth there.
I am smooth. Okay. So our first question for you guys is kind of a standard question. It's the one that we ask everybody out of the gate, and we're going to ask you the same thing. So
you guys take turns answering this one.
Yeah.
And decide which one of you goes first. But could we start off by each of you telling us where your mental health journey begins?
Or began.
Okay. So hi, this is Jaime. My mental health journey started, well, I guess I was raised with an awareness that there was some mental health challenges in my family. I am a nurse by trade. And so when I got pregnant is when I really started to notice a lot of challenges. So I had hyperemesis gravidarum, so I was sick both day and night, and I lost 20 pounds in my pregnancy. I was off work for 10 weeks. And I really started to notice, the struggle with trying to remain positive when everything was so challenging. When I was pregnant, I was still working 12-hour shifts, days and nights, and commuting an hour each way. So it became it became a very long day when you're, pregnant. And then it wasn't until about 3 months postpartum that a lot of my mental health struggles really peaked. And my daughter is 14 years old now. And so 14 years ago, there wasn't a lot of awareness about mental health disorders in pregnancy. You might have heard of postpartum depression, or some people will say, I've got the postpartum. And and so for me, I knew that there was some struggles going on, but I wasn't actually depressed. I was more anxious and obsessive and very hypervigilant in regards to my daughter. And so I knew that, okay, well, I'm not depressed, so I don't have postpartum depression. I know that something doesn't feel right, but I guess, it's just me, or it's just my reaction to things. So I struggled for quite a long time, and I will tell you, if I didn't have the support of my husband and both of our families, I don't think I would have gotten through it. It was a really intense time. And people talk about, how long does postpartum depression last? And we know that if it's treated, it takes about 9 to 12 months to treat it into remission. But untreated, it can last 4 to 5 years. Wow. And so, those struggles or those challenges with your mental health can kind of follow you. And that's why Patricia and I are really trying to advocate for awareness, and we'll talk a little bit about that more later, but really trying to decrease the stigma, increase awareness, and get the government supporting maternal mental health.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that it could stick with you that long, I figured maybe up to a year, sure. But untreated, I didn't, I'm a dude, so I don't know these things, but, yeah, I didn't realize it could last with you, that many years. So,
and I think some people would also say that it extends past that. Like me personally, I know that my anxiety has continued in some forms, but I've learned how to cope. I've created strategies to make myself successful, but it's forever changed me in a sense.
Yeah.
And Patricia, how about you?
So I've been a hot mess my whole life. Something that's there's a term that's going around academic circles now: adverse childhood experiences, which is traumatic childhoods that have contributed to your mental health going forward in life. And so now that I'm in my 40s, it's very easy for me to look back and say I've had mental health issues my whole life, stemming from my own parents, genetics, environmental. So by the time I became pregnant with my first child, because the mental health revolution hadn't really started yet, we didn't really talk about it. I wasn't actually properly diagnosed yet with anything. So I had panic attacks in my 20s, and I had suffered from depression in adolescence and anxiety when I was a child, but it was never flagged, never diagnosed. So by the time I got pregnant, when I really should have been on medication, we don't have universal screening in Canada or the United States, and so it was never monitored. So when I was very anxious when I was pregnant. Actually, I had a panic attack at 2 months, but I thought the whole time it was my fault that I was bringing this on. And like Jamie was saying, no real awareness medically of what exactly perinatal mental illness was. And perinatal just means that it can happen. Perinatal covers the period from pregnancy to postpartum. So then I had my baby, and the minute she was born, I started having symptoms, very fatigued, panic attacks. Actually, I had bipolar disorder, postpartum bipolar disorder, and I had mania and psychosis, and I was untreated. It developed into me hearing voices, thinking angels were talking to me. Luckily, it didn't go the way of that I wanted to harm myself or my baby, but it could have. And it went the way of me having religious delusions, and I started to get into New Age spirituality and thinking I could heal people with my hands and all sorts of weird, wacky things. And then I got pregnant about 4 years after the first one. And in my pregnancy, the second pregnancy, I felt great. I guess my hormones were on the upswing. You know, I had a bit of anxiety, but I started to gain a little bit of perspective on what was happening and started to realize, wow, I was really nuts. Like, what was I thinking? And then after I had the second baby, I started to get the symptoms again 3 months postpartum. As soon as I recognized them, though, I marched right into my doctor's office. I asked for treatment because I needed medication. And I've been on medication ever since. So this has been 5 years. And I've been the most grounded, sane, normal, logical person I have ever been my entire life. And I thought, wow, if this would have been caught when I was a kid, imagine how my life would have gone differently. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Wow. Sorry, she just
not
shot me
that
a
we don't
saying,
mean to shock you guys. We've left you
No.
speechless. So.
No. It's not that. She you said the word nutshell, and she shot me the look like, don't make the joke. Don't make the joke.
It's okay. We're cool like that. Make the joke.
This is a bloody big nutshell. How did I get into this nutshell?
Exactly.
Austin Powers reference.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yes. So she knew. That's the funny thing is, I looked up. I looked at her just a split second, and she shot me that look. She don't you dare do that.
Don't you do it.
Yeah.
Well, we've been together a long time, and we've been doing this show for quite some time now, so...
She knows what to expect.
Yeah, I know what to expect, and sometimes it's not that great.
Thanks, honey. And nothing but a beacon of support.
Yeah.
So, so what we're wondering now is, how did you two meet?
All right.
Well, it's actually quite interesting because when I first started in my position, my paid position now, I work at a local hospital here as the perinatal mood disorder coordinator. And Patricia had heard about my position and had contacted my hospital for an interview. And when she contacted them, they told her that I didn't exist, actually, because it was a very new position and they hadn't heard of me yet. And you had also called the health unit, our local health unit too, and asked. So somehow that got back to me, and I called our corporate communications, said, well, I do exist, and I would like to be interviewed. And so at that time, she was a reporter for the Huffington Post, and she did a story on my position.
Oh,
interesting.
And then
That's
you guys
how we
just
met.
stayed in contact.
And little did we. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, then you guys just stayed in contact after that.
We did, and little did we know we lived in the same town.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was convenient. And then we stayed, we stayed in touch. And I would draw on Jamie's expertise for different stories that I was working on. Sometimes I'd quote her, sometimes I'd just ask her for information. And then after about a year or so, after writing about perinatal mental health and maternal mental health, it was just kind of organic that Jamie and I were both talking that, you know, Canada really needs to have a national strategy, a national perinatal mental health strategy. And why isn't anyone looking at this or working on it? I was biased from day one as a journalist. I was definitely an advocate for perinatal mental health from day one. And of course, Jamie, being a perinatal mood disorder nurse, I said that wrong, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
She was an advocate from day one, and we both have a fire in our belly for wanting to help women and dudes. Dudes get it too.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what? We're gonna form a group, an organization, and we're gonna lobby the federal government. We're gonna lobby Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and we're gonna get a national perinatal mental health strategy. So we formed our organization a year ago, and we put in a lot of work. It's starting to gain momentum now. A lot of more, we have, thousands of moms across Canada and dads who know about us. We have academics who want to join us. We're forming a national committee. We're recruiting social media ambassadors. We have a leader of one of the major parties in Canada, the NDP, Jagmeet Singh. He is in total support of us. So we're starting to gain ground and gain momentum, and we are going to push for this. So we're pushing for something called universal screening and also better access to treatment. So down in the States, in the U.S., you've got 2020 Mom, and they've done a fabulous job. They're an advocacy group based in California, and together with different advocacy groups across your country, you've been able to do, you actually have legislation, federal legislation, an act that was passed in 2016, and that now money is trickling down to different states to work on screening. So that, when you're pregnant and you go in and you get a battery of tests, right? I don't know exactly what the tests are in the States, but here we're tested for rubella, we're tested for gestational diabetes. We have all these tests that we need to take to make sure that the baby is healthy and mom is healthy. But we're missing a test for postpartum depression or prenatal depression or prenatal anxiety. And it's the most common complication of pregnancy and postpartum. And it's not just about, I'm bummed for a few months, I have this baby and then it's over and I go back to normal life. No, it has a tremendous negative effect on the child growing up. The child has more of a chance of developing depression and anxiety if the mother isn't treated for postpartum depression or anxiety. I mean, this is just long lasting.
And developmental consequences and behavioral consequences. And like another thing that, like Patricia was saying, is that there's never a time in a woman's life that she will see more healthcare providers than during the perinatal period. So if everybody is doing mental health assessment and screening, it will decrease the stigma. Women will they will expect people to be asking them about their mental health. Right now, because of stigma, a lot of people aren't asking the question because they don't know where to send them if they answer yes to those questions. And that's really unethical for us not to ask the question. So the U.S. Preventative Task Force in the States actually said a couple years ago that we need to be screening all pregnant women. And then they quickly said, only if you have the access to treatment. And that's one of the big things in Canada is that we cannot guarantee equitable access to treatment. So we can't be screening everybody. And so that's what we're really fighting for, is that when a woman is pregnant and postpartum, we need to be asking those questions, and we need to have a place to send them and to treat them to remission. So not just, giving them a prescription for an antidepressant and sending them on their way, doing follow-up, continuing to monitor their mood throughout, and really supporting the family, because you can't have healthy, happy babies without happy, healthy, resilient moms. And that's what we're really looking for. And,
that's
we
true.
have a very, good adult mental health system. In our area, we have one of our hospitals has just opened a child and youth mental health unit, which, will take some pressure off of the adult mental health units. But if we want to make an impact, we need to be looking at preconception and prenatal. So really looking at mom and thinking about how we can support her physically and mentally to be able to support her family and be able to give them everything that they need. Because as Patricia was saying, those ACEs, or the adverse childhood experiences, we know that 60% of the population has at least one ACE. So that's looking at, different types of abuse, malnourishment, neglect, separation and divorce, living with a parent with mental illness. And so if you were to look at kind of the 10 things that, the ACEs encompass, you might look at that and go, wow, I have a couple. And what they know now from research is if you have 4 or more, that will hugely affect your health as you go through adulthood, cardiac-wise, mental health-wise, chronic illness. So it's really, people are really starting to pay attention to that.
It kind of goes hand in hand, and it should, mental health and physical health in general, not just, being pregnant, but in general, it should all kind of be taken into account, really, that's something, as we've done the show and the hundreds of people that we've talked to now, one thing that you kind of see a pattern on is that mental health affects physical health affects mental health, and they're hand in hand. And right now there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between that. The one thing that I've noticed, I'm actually going to physical therapy right now for my back. I'm having some back issues. And the therapist that I'm working with kind of thinks outside the box, and he's got me doing stuff that I'm not doing much with my back, but I'm strengthening other parts of my body, and that is supporting my back.
Yeah, like your core.
Right. My core, my legs, my thighs and whatnot, and finding that the pain moves, okay, well, your back feels a little bit better, but now your glutes are hurting and it's affecting your sciatic nerve. Well, let's concentrate on that. And that's kind of how he approaches it is, you focus on these different things and, to get down to the bottom of what the underlying issue is. And I think that same principle can be applied to a combination of physical health and mental health, that they do go hand in hand. So when you find out you're pregnant, some people get really excited about it and some people get terrified about it. And depending on what your personal outlook is and what your personal plan for your life is, and how pregnancy can affect that can really throw you in a tailspin mentally as well as physically. I think
Absolutely.
I think the work you guys are doing is really important, shining a light on that. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break, but we'd like to continue talking about this on the other side. We're going to take a minute and pause to listen to the song "Mama's Love" by Cameron Hawthorne. So you guys stick around, hang in there, and stick in there. That's what I was. Wow. And we'll see you guys on the other side of this.
Okay, thank you.
Monsters in the dark and robbers in the night, hiding in my closet. They were gonna steal me away, but she wrapped me in her arms, sang a lullaby, told me I was safe and sound forever and always, and all was right, all was well in the world. It's a rock-a-bye, baby, it's a kiss on the cheek, it's to tuck you in late when you can't fall asleep. stop all the crying, it'll end all the fuss. Only mama's love, mama's love. Only mama's love, mama's love. Bullies on the playground and tears in my eyes. They try to cut me deep, never quit knocking me down. But she whispered to me softly, don't believe the lies. Just dust yourself brand new and go on, get up off the ground. And all was right, all was well in the world. It's a call me if you need me. It's a be there in a blink. It's the medicine that makes you strong when you are weak. It'll stop all the crying, it'll end all the fuss. Only mama's love, mama's love. Only mama's love, mama's love. Only mama's love. Only mama's love. Only mama's love. Only mama's love. Monsters in the real world, bullies all grown up, where you can't cry for mama, even though you want to sometimes. But she gave you something special you've had since you were young. It'll make yourself feel better every single time. It's a hello to your neighbor, it's a hand to those in need. It's pulling off the road to do a good deed. It'll stop all the crying, it'll end all the fuss. Give a mama's love, mama's love. Give a mama's love, mama's love.
Hey, welcome back to Voices for Change 2.0. I'm Joe. She's Rebecca. She's cute as a dickens. Look at her. She's such a little cutie.
Oh,
I'm a lucky dude.
Get a
okay,
room.
that's enough of that.
And on the line, we have the lovely and talented Patricia Tomasi and Jaime Charlebois.
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 Yay!
Yay! Hello, ladies.
I took French in high school, so I can do the bois.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I took Spanish, so.
Then you should be okay with it too.
Yeah.
No. But I actually have doing Rosetta Stone Spanish kind of on and off now, and it's funny because like some stuff comes back to you, and then other stuff you're like, wait, what does that mean? And you have to Google it.
Yeah, my French teacher was so amazing. I didn't have her for second year, but I had her first, third, and fourth, and I still talk to her on Facebook to this day. And I marvel at this all the time, the stuff that she taught us that I remember, because I don't remember anything from any other classes. I'm not going to lie. I was an okay student, but I wasn't somebody that was like a sponge and just soaked everything up until French class. And things will pop up during the course of the day, and I'll remember a word or a phrase or something. But yeah, that's just my story. But, but yeah, she's the best. I really need to reach out to her again and tell her how much of an impact she's had on my life.
For sure.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Jaime, how did you become the first perinatal mood disorder coordinator registered nurse?
That's a good question. So,
Thank you. That's why I asked you.
In Northern Ontario, there was a woman called Linda Rankin, and she organized the Northern Ontario postpartum mood disorder strategy, and it was an amazing piece of work. And she was pushing to get support in Northern Ontario to create programming. So she had actually come down to the Barrie area and spoken to a maternal child group in our area. And from her presentation, they voted that we needed somebody in this area to take on her work. And so I applied for the position. At that time, I was a labor and delivery nurse in Toronto. And so if I took that position, I would be a lot closer to home. And so my position, the full title is Postpartum Mood Disorder Community Development Coordinator. And I worked throughout the region to create capacity with different agencies. I do education and training, all kinds of things, but really just working from the ground up. And yeah, I'm the only one funded to do this type of work. So it's been really exciting.
The only one in Ontario. What about Canada?
I'm probably the only one in Canada. Yeah. But there's, people that are working in different capacities at different organizations, but not in the same way. So it's been, at this point in my career, I've been a nurse for 20 years. It's been great to take on such a challenge and work the way I feel I need to.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I imagine it feels pretty satisfying too.
It does.
Yeah, that's when you know that the work you're doing is being such a benefit and providing for those who really haven't had a pathway before. It's there's more to life than money. And
there is. Yeah.
But
having, if we had a magical pot of money, imagine what we could do with it when it comes to perinatal mental health, creating programming and creating programs. So that's why we're really pushing for this national strategy, so we can create this type of programming across all of Canada, just like what was done in the UK and Australia. So they created programs across their entire country, so every woman and man or family had access to the type of service they need to support their perinatal mental health.
Yeah, it seems like for some reason us North Americans, because that's what you guys are and that's what we are, seem to be behind the curve from what they do in the UK and Australia.
Yeah, the UK is always on the ball about stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're about 10 to 20 years behind typically.
And we're probably 10 to 20 years behind that. and thinking worse and worse with our current government, but we won't get into that. Touchy subject around here. Anyway, so we got into a little bit the CPMHC. Just briefly, how did you guys go about founding it?
That's funny because we we fund it out of our own pockets. So we kind of pick and choose what awareness events we want to participate in, and we use social media a lot. We use our own skills a lot, with Jaime's connections in the medical world and my connections in the media world. So we're about a year old now, and now we're at the point of, like I said before, forming a national committee so we can get some more help across the country and social media ambassadors. And up here, the rules legally, if you want to become a registered charity or a not-for-profit, that has a whole lot of other rules and expenses as well. So we're not sure if we're going to go that route or not, if we're just going to stay. It's possible just to stay an advocacy organization or a lobbying organization and not become a legal entity. So right now we are
in the process of discussing that.
In the process of discussing it and funding our own things. So like making, things like poster boards. We were at an event actually Thursday night, and so we had to pay our tickets to be there, and we're doing what we can, but hopefully in the future, we'll decide one way or another what we're going to do about that. But thanks to social media and the skills that we have, we're doing pretty good at getting the word out and getting the leader of a major party voicing his support. And after that happened, we got a national story in the Huffington Post. So we're doing pretty good so far. But, money, of course, can also help us reach farther. So we'll see. We'll see. If there are any Canadian billionaires listening out there who want to sponsor us, give us a call.
And while we're at it, any American billionaires that might be listening, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, we'll take that too, because your dollar's better than ours right now.
That's right.
That was just shocking to me. But have you guys considered any crowdfunding sources as a way of financial support?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of our discussions. It can get a little sticky then too, because we aren't a legal not-for-profit or a registered charity. So if we start asking for funds, we're just basically asking the public to give to us and trust that we're using their money ethically, right? So I don't know if we would do that yet, but we'll see. Okay. So far things have been okay and going in the direction that we need them to go, and we're not too poor yet, but we'll see what happens as we go. But for any moms and dads listening out there that think they might be suffering from a prenatal or postpartum mental illness, we just want to get the message out to them to talk to somebody, to talk to their partner if they're supportive, and to talk to a doctor or a midwife. Do they have midwives in the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nurse midwife. And really just keep talking until someone listens to you and just doesn't brush it off. Because a lot of the time, we have a campaign going right now, #ThisIsMyStory, where we're getting moms and dads across Canada to tell us their story, and then we're writing it and posting it on our site. And a lot of the stories I'm reading, it takes 2 or 3 visits for the mom or the dad to actually convince their doctor that they're not feeling well, because our doctors here and midwives, they're not really trained in perinatal mental health. That's changing somewhat. There's a bit more education days and trainings happening, but for the most part, they might just say, I have one mom's story I'm working on right now, and she told her doctor, she's really depressed, she's early in the postpartum, and the doctor said, oh, okay, but it's not postpartum depression, right? Putting the question back on her, and she said, well, I don't know, that's why I'm here. And she said, and the doctor said, it's probably just the blues, and it'll pass. So
wow.
It's kind of like the suck it up and pat on the back and off we go.
Yeah.
So, and Rebecca.
Yeah, throw some dirt on it.
Patricia will say many times that the onus is on women and men right now to reach out and seek the type of care that they need. And when somebody's struggling with a mental illness, they may not have the cognitive ability to look for the help that they need. They're isolated at home, they're depressed, they're not functioning properly, they're not creating those proper attachment relationships with their babies, but then we're asking them to figure out what type of care, mental health care that they need or mental health support they need. So the last thing they need are insensitive healthcare provider interactions where somebody is unvalidating or dismissive. And so we're doing the best we can to kind of bring more educational events to the area and talk about it more and really advocate so everybody is aware. So if a woman is going to a pediatrician appointment, that's a great opportunity for somebody in that office to ask mom how she's doing. But mom isn't the patient. As soon as baby comes out, baby is the patient and baby is the focus. And that's a huge missed opportunity to check in with mom.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the I would really like to see the medical community get a little more all-inclusive on things. And that's something that you notice just in the normal day-to-day. If you're going to your regular primary care provider and they send you to a specialist for something, and you come to find out that they're not talking to each other to find out what's going on with you and your health. And you should be invested in your own health, and you should be proactive enough to say, okay, this is what's going on with me, but there should also still be some kind of communication between those doctors, so that way, the specialist isn't prescribing something that you have an adverse reaction to that your PCP knows about that the specialist doesn't, or
That's
vice versa. You know what I mean? I would like to see the medical field be a little more inclusive and attentive to what their patients have going on. That's just my personal feeling. So,
I agree. Yeah, we have something in Ontario right now. I believe it's called Connecting Ontario, where they're connecting electronic medical records across different sites. So you would go in and access, and you would have patient records. And it's amazing in 2020 now that this is a new thing, but we should be able to access across the spectrum everything that's going on with a client or a patient. Right.
And, it's funny because you mentioned that, and like here for us, my PCP has a patient portal, right? But then a specialist that I go to has a different patient portal, and another doctor has a different patient portal. And it seems like all those patient portals should be able to link up and cross-access, and they don't. And that seems to be like a huge hole in the whole system. You know? So we're getting close to our time being over, unfortunately, because this has been a great conversation with you guys. But we do have a couple of things to ask you before we say arrivederci. The big one is, what's next for you guys?
Well, we're glad you asked. We've got a lot planned for 2020. We formed a year ago, so we've been kind of just feeling things out. But 2020, we have a plan for campaigns every month. We have something huge here in Canada called Bell Let's Talk, where at the end of January, there's one day where you hashtag Bell Let's Talk over all of social media and talk about mental health. So we have the hashtag This Is My Story campaign we're doing then. Jaime and I are doing a live Facebook that day. We're trying to get follow-up with the different politicians, federal politicians, to have meetings with them. We're doing a lot in 2020. And Jaime,
it's safe to say 2020 is your year.
The 2020 is the year, and I stopped because I wanted Jamie to chime in too, because she is one busy lady. But we're all busy, right? Full-time job, kids. But she's on various committees, and it's going to be a wonderful learning experience this year. But we're hoping to really push our organization to the forefront and get this national strategy. That's our whole mission. That's our whole goal.
That's right.
So that's what we'll be doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good goal to have.
World Maternal Mental Health Day is Wednesday, May 6th. And so this is an international advocacy event. So look it up. I believe the website is postpartum.net. Where's that? So anyways, what we're looking at is on Wednesday, May 6th, is bringing awareness to World Maternal Mental Health Day. And in our area, for the whole week from May 3rd to 10th, we have 8 different awareness walks that we're doing, where community members are asked to come out and support. We have our mayors and dignitaries that come out. We have proclamation letters being drawn up. And our biggest event is in Barrie. We have close to 300 people that come out and walk with us. And every year it gets bigger and bigger.
That's exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is really awesome. And having it happen, isn't it the mental health month anyway?
May? So yeah, May is usually mental health month.
So that's awesome. That's yet one more thing that I know we can help promote too with our show, because we like to do a nice run up to May being Mental Health Month. Definitely highlighting different aspects. So thanks for letting us know about that, because we didn't.
Yeah.
Cool. And then lastly, if people want to reach out to you guys, what are your different social media stuffs?
Okay, so our website is cpmhc.ca. They can also reach us on Twitter at CPMHC. They can find us on Instagram, same thing, and they can email us at CAN, so CAN for Canada, pmhc@gmail.com.
Cool.
And of course,
awesome.
We're on Facebook as the Canadian Perinatal Mental Health Collaborative. So if any Canadians listening out there that want to join us, best thing to do is go to our website, and we have a little sign-up area, and we'll get you on our mailing list, and we'll keep you updated on all of the campaigns that we have going right now. And if you're interested in joining our national committee or being a social media advisor, our application cutoff date is January 24th, so you still have time, and we encourage everyone to apply.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much to both of you for taking an hour out of your day and spending it with us. We are truly honored. And stay on the line. We're going to finish out the show with the song So Much Better by Levi Christ. And
thank you.
See you next week.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week.
Ooh, roll the top down. Let's take an afternoon drive. I've been working too hard. I want to leave it all behind me. Pushing and pulling, yeah, the world keeps spinning around and around. But I go with the flow. Nobody gonna get me down. Think I tell you the secret about the way that love's gonna be. It's a super sexy, conscious, cosmological ecstasy. Getting hold of me and it's all Yeah. I want you to stop and take a look around. Let your body unwind. You see, you got everything you want. You just gotta open up your eyes. You see it, holding on to something when there's nothing that you can do to change it. Just let it go with the flow. Get about your business doing you. Oh, say I tell you a little secret how to make it on history. Oh, it's a super sexy, conscious, cosmological ecstasy. It's getting hold of me. It's so much better, so much better now. Baby love, don't you know that it's so much better, so much better now. Feels good to let it go, and it's so much better, so much better now. Baby love, don't you know that it's so much better, so much better now. It feels good to let it go. Yeah, yeah, feels good to let it go. Yeah, may I tell you a little secret how to make it on easy street. It's a super sexy, conscious, cosmological ecstasy. Get it hold of me. And it's so much better, so much better now. Baby love, don't you know that it's so much better, so much better now. It feels good to let it go. And it's so much better, so much better now. Baby love, don't you know that it's so much better, so much better now. Said it feels good to let it go. Oh, it feels good to let it go. Oh,